Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking closer at the trailer or the launch trailer for Endwalker. It came out a few days ago, and if you haven't seen my live reactions, you should go ahead and do that. I loved every moment of it. Today we're actually going to be looking a little bit deeper on the launch trailer, just the little bits of cutscenes and trailers that we had. It's just a tiny glimpse of the main scenario that we're going to be getting for Endwalker. So we really don't have too much to go on, we have more than what we had before, I guess, but this is just going to be kind of a step-by-step, like frame-by-frame look at what might be coming for us in the main scenario questline. So I hope you all enjoyed it. So first off, we're just going to start off with just the visuals that we're going to be seeing, and then we'll go more into the voices that we got afterwards, so what they're technically saying. So for this first part of the cutscene, we are in Limsa. It's already dark out. So already we actually have a look at two characters we've already seen. Well, if you've played through the job quests anyway. We have these two characters right here. So this one is Momozigo. He's from the Samurai questline. And we have the Yellow Jacket Captain. Her name escapes me right now, but she is from the Rogues questline. So that already is a really nice addition to see there. And we have Thancred gazing up at the moon, just a little bit of foreshadowing it looks like. One interesting thing I will say though is that most of the commentary that's happening is in MXL's voice, so I don't know if it's like some kind of recording or maybe somehow he is able to speak to us through here. I don't know how that's working out, but it's really interesting. I'll talk more about that in a moment. But as you can see here, a ship is coming in. They're getting ready to head out. Tataru's bidding us farewell and to stay safe. And it looks like we are heading straight off towards Charlian. During this opening part, there's a beautiful music coming up, and I really love it. I do love this theme, though I don't think I've ever heard it before. But we hear MXL's voice narrating, so it kind of sounds like we're starting everything off here with his voice just kind of narrating everything. And so you venture forth unto the unknown, a fate beyond the horizon that cannot be defined, a future undefined and in flux. Alright, so here is a cutscene that we have of Amarant when it was burning during the final days. And if you remember from MXL's recreation, the people were just kind of shadows. They weren't real, of course. So they didn't have like any distinctive features. Here though, we actually have a kind of a glimpse of some extra features. So this looks like it's either a memory of the old days, like maybe somebody's thinking back and seeing all of this. Maybe we're having a flashback of the Echo. It's hard to say. It doesn't look like the Echo though. For this next scene though, it looks like we have a forest that's on fire. So I'm pretty sure that's Thanar, because we're going to see a little bit more of that. But we have monsters like literally raining down from the sky. Moving on to this part here, I really don't know what this is. It just looks like it's part of a broken dome, like maybe part of a building. And it's either part of maybe Thanar, or like maybe the ruins that we've seen before in some of the cutscenes, or rather the screenshots that we saw for the dungeons. I personally think it's really more of the final days, like another cutscene from that. And we have, this one is definitely a scene from the final days, where we have what looks like two people holding hands as they were killed during the onslaught of like the fire raining down from the heavens or being attacked by monsters, which is really sad. But this is definitely taken part of Thanar, and you can actually see the forest in the background, which is continuing to burn. We have like those octopus-like creatures, like I really don't know what to name those things, except they're flying through the air, they're raining down destruction. You see the statue of the two heads here. That's definitely something that we've seen as part of Thanar. So basically it looks like everything is really starting to turn bad at this point. And of course we cut back to the Warrior of Light. He's standing on deck. It looks like we're heading towards Charlian, like I said, or maybe even to Thanar, one of the two places. Personally, I think it's really Charlian. And as we move onward, as they're playing more, we hear more of like this somber music playing. We hear like these sad words being spoken. Can't really understand what they're saying so far until we get the lyrics for that. But MXL is still speaking. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. So that's definitely in reference to the final days and how everything is destined to end eventually. And he's then encouraging us to treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth. What I think he's referring to is maybe heading down into the underworld, because he did have an ability to be able to see the underworld, which was very rare even for powerful Amratines. That's one of the reasons that he was lifted up to the Convocation and took on the name of M itself, because of this ability. So I do think that if we do end up going to the underworld, we will be able to get like maybe the entire picture, maybe something that we have not been fully informed of. He definitely gave us kind of like a brief summary of what happened, of the events leading up to the final days. But we don't know the whole story. We don't know Heidelin's take on it. We don't know exactly what caused the final day. So I think that he's referring to, if we keep moving forward, maybe if we descend into the underworld, we will find all the truth and all the answers that we need. Okay, and moving on to the next cutscene after this part. Yes, our tale winds towards the final days. So this is definitely one part of the cutscene. So we actually saw parts of this during the media tour. And it looks like we're somewhere inside Garlamald. We're with our trust system. We have the Stinian and the twins. It looks like Alphino and Alize have already did a costume change. Alphino is already a sage. So let's move on from that. So it looks like we're actually part of that same dungeon. I can't say for sure, but it looks like we're up against some Magitech. I definitely see Graha, and there's Alphino there as well. I'm sure that Alize is there in the background. This next scene, we're definitely in Garlamald. We can see the massive structure of the tower, the gateway to the gods, that I think Van Daniel called it. And we actually see how big it is. It's huge. Meanwhile, we have all of Garlamald just literally in ruins. Like, there's just nothing left of this place. This next scene, we have Alphino and Alize here. They're both dressed up in their winter gear. And this scene is actually very interesting because we have a character we haven't seen yet. And I actually have two different theories about who he could be. He's either a brand new character or maybe even Nerva. I don't think he's Nerva though. I think that he's definitely a new character. But in this scene, we have definitely what looks like Lucia here. It looks like she's coming back here to Garlamald, which doesn't surprise me because she is actually from Garlamald. She's a Garlean. It looks like we also have someone from the Maelstrom, and I'm guessing someone from the Alamegan Resistance. I can't be sure. But it looks like we also have Sadu there and Serena from the Azim Steppe, which was not expecting that, but I really hope it's them. I love both those characters. Anyway, he doesn't look happy though because he's charging right at them with a blade in his hands. This next scene I absolutely love. We have Alphino and Alize here, and it looks like they're just sitting there talking, and Alize just goes over and just scoots right up next to him. She leans her head against him, and that's so sweet. You really don't see too many like sweet moments like that. You do see them like when she's kind of poking fun at him and he's kind of teasing her or laughing at her, but really sweet, touching scene. I don't think we really had something like that, not since Stormblood, I think. But you can see their breath, you can see that they're bound up in thick coats and everything, so I'm guessing it's very cold. Probably somewhere in Garlamald if they're, I don't know, maybe they're being held hostage or something. It's just so sweet. I love this cutscene. The next words that we hear is actually from Alphino, and he seems to be trying to, I don't know if he's arguing with someone or reasoning with someone, but he's saying, maybe we don't belong here, but neither do they. Not out here in the wind and the cold. So I'm guessing this is also going to be taking place in this scene. I just love this one frame here, just the two of them sitting together. And I don't know, he's just telling people, he's talking to somebody, and he's saying like, sure, maybe I don't belong here, but these people don't deserve it. Like, whatever else happened, these people deserve to be cared for. They deserve help, which I think is really good because it really shows how much growth he's gone through. Alright, where hearts and souls align, and again, I will be talking more about what they're saying here. But we have the woman in white standing here on deck. So either we're heading off to Sharlayan or Thanar, and she appears before the Warrior of Light again. She's speaking to him, and she seems more solid than before. Now, during the voiceover, she mentions a bloom. So we have this white flower in our hands. Not really sure what that is all about yet. That bloom will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. And so this flower is definitely going to hold some kind of important significance. What that significance is, I do not know, only that we're going to be holding on to it for a while. Maybe it was a gift from Heidelin, and it's going to help us out someday. It does say here, by their lights forge ahead, which we know light is not necessarily a good thing here. In this cutscene, I'm definitely saying that we're back in like that creepy tower before, and we have two Magitech, like Colossus, bearing down on us. So it's us with Estinian fighting them off. In this next cutscene, we have one of the Mega Sisters. So this is technically her name was, I think it was Sandy, or is it Mindy? Sandy, Mindy, and Cindy. No, it's Cindy. She goes by a different name, actually, right now, but I still refer to her as Cindy, like from Final Fantasy X. We also have Estinian, there's Alphino there, we're all fighting against her, and Alize looks like in the background as well. This scene completely blew me off. I have no idea what to think of it, but it looks like we're running through space on a crystalline pathway. I have no idea what this is, where we are, or anything. It just looks awesome. But we're back with the lady in white, and she looks more solid now. She definitely looks a lot more solid. So before it was kind of like a hazy glimpse that we saw her by the lake. Here she appears to try to take more of a human form. I'm not sure why that is. Next up we have, this is definitely in Charlian, and we have the members of the Forum standing there in front of the doors. At first I thought that maybe they were here because of the Scions, but it doesn't look it. We see a group of people, I'm guessing just regular citizens, and for Chanot, their father, he's stepping forward. He probably is here to make some kind of an address. Not sure what that's all about, but I really have some uneasy feelings about him. In this cutscene, we have Anima. So Anima's definitely going to be one of the trial fights that we're going to be getting. And it looks like, ooh, we're being pulled down under. And I'm not entirely sure why this is, but I only see us. I don't know where anyone else is. But Anima looks so cool. Like, the design is not exactly like how she was in 10, but I think I love it even more. And of course, we have her overdrive, which is Oblivion, which is going to be an awesome cutscene from what I can remember. And of course we have the Warrior of Light there holding up the crystal that was left over from MXL. It was the crystal of Azem. And we're standing in, I have no idea where we are. It's just like some fantastical dreamscape here. And the voiceover that they did this part kind of creeped me out a little bit, but I'll explain more about that in a second. Because it's a voice that we haven't heard from before, and it definitely doesn't sound like it's from the Lady of Light. It doesn't sound like it's from Heidelin or anyone, but the voice is saying, "Come, let me relieve you of your burden. You've suffered enough." So it seems like somebody's trying to either convince the Warrior of Light to just give up and die right then and there, or it sounds like it can go either way. Either they're trying to trick them, or maybe they genuinely want to help them and take up their burden. But come on, we know the Warrior of Light's not going to do that. Alright, so I don't know who this character is. I don't know if it's actually just part of the job quest for the Reaper. I personally highly doubt it. I do think that this is going to be a brand new character that we've never met before. And it's definitely really epic, especially when we see the sky burning and Alize's looking up and she's saying, "The sky burns, the final days are truly upon us." We have Alize staring up at the sky while literally fire is raining down. It's truly the final days, and the world is trembling for its demise. More monsters are coming in, and it's interesting here because it looks like people are actually turning into the monsters rather than the monsters just appearing, which is kind of disturbing. But we have another cutscene of the dungeon. It looks like we have Y'shtola there with Estinian and Alphino, and they're fighting their way through like a monster-infested forest. It looks like we're on the brink of snow, so I'm not 100% sure if this is in Thanar. It's hard to say. But we have people just trying to escape as the monsters are attacking. This is a really freaky cutscene of these giant, like, bug-like worm creatures, like, they look like the first monsters that we saw during the Amarat dungeon. And from the haze that I can see here definitely looks like some part of the Echo flashback, so that's what I'm betting that it is. We also have a figure dressed in Garlean attire, standing before a battered Garlean banner. So if I had to guess, I would say that this guy is Nerva. So this could be the first time that we're actually seeing Nerva. That's my best guess. We also hear another voice in the background saying, "Bereft of hope and now dignity. It was a grand, glorious dream we shared." And I'm guessing it was this man here who was speaking. We see the battered banner of Garlamald. We see these pipes. I'm guessing they're either like in some kind of bunker or they're underground. So he's definitely a member of the royal family, and we've had kind of mixed reviews about him. Some say that he was good, others say that he was a weakling and a coward. My guess, though, is that this is definitely Nerva. Oh, these things are hideous. I have no idea who thought up those kind of monsters, but yeah, so we have even more monsters everywhere. We have more scenes of fighting. This guy here, I'm not entirely sure who he is, because it looks like we're dealing with a warrior. I'm kind of thinking it might be Curious Gourd, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But we have another cutscene of what looks like another dungeon that we're running through. I see buildings collapsing in the background. I see some magic tech roaming about. There's a treasure chest sparkling right there, so it's definitely a dungeon. We see a giant worm battling what looks like around Thannar. And this guy, again, we got a better look at who this guy is. And so he's definitely a Garlean, and I'm guessing that he's going to be a brand new, really important character. I would say that maybe he's going to be like part of the Popularis. That's what I'm betting that he is anyway. And so he's like trying to find a way to maybe help his people, because Garlamald is not in the best of shape right now. The Garleans they're kind of living in ruins right now, so maybe he's just trying to do his part to help out the people. We then hear somebody else say, "I won't lose them, not a one." We don't know who it is that's speaking, but I'm guessing it's going to be that blue-haired Garlean that we saw before. Maybe he's just trying to say, "I'm not going to lose my people. I'm not going to lose what's left. I'm not going to lose like a single one of these refugees or whoever else is surviving." Okay, so we actually saw this creature during the benchmark, so I'm guessing it's actually going to be part of a dungeon fight. Yes, we definitely have Estinian there fighting with us, so it's going to be a dungeon boss at some point. I'm guessing it's going to be some kind of creature that we're going to be fighting as we fight our way through Thannar during like all this fire and destruction. But then Alize's voice cuts in like as all these monsters are taking place. But are we so powerless that our only choice is to flee? And immediately we have somebody else speaking. It kind of sounds like Thancred. We've come too far to back down now. Got a scene of probably when the monsters are first starting to appear. Ooh, and I remember these guys from the trailer as well. So it's also part of the dungeon, it looks like. Here we're back in Emerald. We actually have an Emeraldine, like his hood's down, so we actually see him as like an actual person, not like as a ghostly figure. But this is definitely like another flashback of memories of the final days as he's grabbed by a monster. And I'm guessing it's because of her. She's remembering all of this. I still am going to say that she's Vana. She just looks so battered and tired during all of this. So I really do think it's Vana, and she's just remembering like these really bad memories of what happened. And so it looks like here in this next scene we have the beginnings of that crystalline road that we saw before. We have all of our Scion allies behind us as we're getting ready to head up it and see exactly where it's going to lead us. Not sure where we are. I have a theory on that, but moving on from there. So this scene is actually kind of dark here. So this is the throne. This is actually the throne that we saw during the trailer that we see Zenos sitting in. He's staring out like as the world is on fire. But the Warrior of Light looks like is sitting in the throne now. And it looks like they're either unconscious or sleeping. My theory is like maybe they fought against Anima and they were just pushed the breaking points and they just dropped there because they were exhausted. Maybe Zenos knocked them out or something, but they were brought here before Zenos. He's in the throne with Zenos talking to him, and the next voice to speak up though is definitely Zenos. Wheresoever there is suffering and despair, you appear to fulfill your duty as defender of this star. So I don't know if he really means that or not, or he's just kind of taunting us, but it's kind of what it sounds like. So maybe we're actually going to be getting some big revelation from him. So maybe he actually knows much more about Azem. Maybe he knows something about the ancient past that we don't. Yeah, that does not look like a good thing, because Zenos, he believes that the two of you are friends. He believes that he is friends with the Warrior of Light. I mean, the Warrior of Light themselves doesn't see that, but to Zenos, they are friends, so... This scene here kind of blew me away. So it's definitely part as another dungeon. We have Graha and the twins behind us. And like these black orbs. It looks like skeletons, like some giant creature in the background. And it looks like the remains of people scattered about. I'm guessing might be part of the underworld. Because they mentioned the underworld in one of the stories from Tales of the Shadows. And apparently the underworld is like the in-between world, like where you go when you die. And that could be a little bit more hinting about Selk, because his actual real name was Hades, who was the king of the underworld, the god of the underworld. So I do think that we will be heading there somehow. Not sure how it ties in, though. Of course, we have Asinian riding on the back of Vitra, and it looks like Vitra is heading off to fly and fight as many of those monsters. We actually saw that part of the trailer as well. In this scene, it looks like, it doesn't look like, it's not a trial fight because we have the trust system again, but I'm not entirely sure what that creature is. I really don't know, but it looks pretty badass. I'm guessing it's going to be like a final boss or something. Well, final boss for a dungeon anyway. But we have Zenos, his eyes are glowing, and it seems like he is just so happy. I'm guessing this is carrying on from that scene where he had the Warrior of Light sitting on the throne and just talking to us about it. Warrior of Light walking up on the moon, getting ready to look down upon the earth. And we have just some flashbacks of memories of fighting and everything that happened to us, like all the previous expansions, like some of the major moments as we are walking forward, continuing to forge on. Because we are getting near the end of the story. This one is really cool. We have the Warrior of Light standing in some kind of space or time. I'm guessing we're back on the moon. We have like these ghostly images of the Emeraldine standing around us. I don't know if they're like some kind of ghosts or spirits, maybe some memories coming back to us. We see like floating crystals in the background. It looks like we're actually heading towards like the final endgame boss for this particular one. Maybe they're appearing to support us. Maybe they're here to help fight against us. I don't think of that part though, because they're standing behind us as we're looking around. My best guess is that this is actually a memory. Like we're seeing like when the Convocation actually summoned Zodiark, because in this scene here, we have a first look of what might be Zodiark. I really don't know for sure just yet, because it doesn't look like this kind of the Zodiark that I had in my mind, but it looks like some sort of prison. So it definitely looks like we finally managed to maybe make it into the moon. We find the imprisoned Zodiark, and it just definitely looks like we have those blades. It looks like it has like kind of like swords of revealing light or something, just kind of keeping it all locked up. But yeah, when I see this image here, it does look like we have the hands folded over itself, so we see the rings on the back. So I'm guessing that this is Zodiark, or like maybe some kind of incarnation of him. The next voice to speak up after we get this wonderful music is actually Fandaniel, and he's saying there must be a way to restore things to the way they were, to reclaim the perfect paradise we once had. Which is really odd, because before he didn't care about restoring the world to how it was, he just wanted to destroy everything. So I'm not entirely sure if that's really Fandaniel talking. We have Fandaniel on the moon, and we have more of those masks. So it looks like we're still carrying on from that scene. We're still in space, but we see those creepy, endless masks, like kind of like how we fought against Selk, and he had those masks. That's when the music really starts to pick up. We hear this gorgeous chorus in the background. And it's actually a take of the theme that we saw, like from Charlene, not Charlene's theme, but during the cinematic trailer where we see Charlene, we hear that beautiful song that's playing when we first see Charlene, and it's actually a take on that theme, only it's definitely maybe remixed right there. But then we hear a deeper voice speaking up. It will be ours again, a world free of sorrow. So maybe it's another Ascian who's speaking. I do not know. I really don't know. The Warrior of Light, though, is still fighting onwards, and we have the magic circle. It's a summoning circle that was Azem's magic. We still have the crystal. So it looks like we're calling in for backup. And the Warrior of Light is still standing on the moon, gazing down at what he's protecting. He's trying to protect this entire world on his own before the logo pops up. But then we hear Mxelk's voice speaking during this scene when the Warrior of Light's gazing down at Hydaelyn. Let the curtains fall upon this, the final chapter in the tale of this star. And I love this scene too, though it's kind of sad. We have Alphinaud's voice talking, and we have all of our friends like flashing through our minds. So I see that Alphinaud is missing from this particular scene. And finally, it all wraps up at the end when we have Alphinaud speaking. He's saying, he's either saying the two of you or to have you at my side. It means more to me than you know. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. Given what lies ahead, I did not wish to leave for later that which I could do today. After all, tomorrow is never promised. So that is a full breakdown of the entire trailer, including all of the lines that we heard, just my speculation of what I think might be happening, just maybe some little hints or clues that you may not have noticed. But yeah, a lot is going to be coming for us in Endwalker. I'm only sorry that we have to wait a little bit longer, but that's okay. This launch trailer would be more than enough to help get me through it. I hope that you all enjoyed it. And if you have any kind of suggestions or ideas of what might be coming, just please drop a message down below. Otherwise, I'll be heading out now, and once again, thank you all so much. Bye!